संसारदावानलनिधलोका त्रणयकारुण्याघनघनत्वम् नलिधलोका त्रणयकारुण्याघनघनत्वम् प्राप्तस्य कल्याणगुणर्नवस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् कल्याणगुणरविन्दम् महाप्रभो कीर्तनरुच गीता वदित्रमाध्यान् मनसोरसेना रोमाञ्चकाम्पश्रुतरङ्गभजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यानाना शृङ्गारतानमन्दिरमर्जनादौ युक्तस्य भक्तां शनियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् शनियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् चतुर्विधा श्रीभगवत्प्रसादौ स्वादन्नतृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्गान् हरिभक्तसङ्गान् कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपानाम्नाम् माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपानाम्नाम् प्रतीक्षणा स्वाधनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् निकुंजयो नो रतिकेलिसिद्धाय यायालिभिर्युक्तेरपेक्षणीया तत्र त्रिदाक्षादतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् साक्षादरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रैरुक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव शब्दिः किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादान्न गति कुतोऽपि यस्य प्रसादान्न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायन्तु वांस्तस्य यशश्रीसन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् ध्यायन्तु वांस्तस्य यशश्रीसन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana, Giridhari Gopinath Madan Mohana. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. Sri Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Bhatta Raghunatha, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Sri Radhe. Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Sri Radhe. Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Baladeva Jayo Subhadra. Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Lakshmana Hanuman. Sita Ram Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Lakshmana Hanuman. Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Shnupad Brahmam Sapajaka Acharya Stota Shata Shishmatis Divine Grace. Aparachana Vrinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON PPTPI Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Brahmamsa Prajaka Acharya Stocha Shishmatis Divine Grace. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premisiko Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Chaitra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samavrita Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadaine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Bahir Narsimha Hrudaye Narsimha. Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare
जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। लवरे नाकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार, ढलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनु भृंगा, केशव अतीता नरहरि रूपा, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। जय नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंहदेव, नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंह। जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय भक्ता प्रहलाद। महाराज जय 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 प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, निताय गौर हरि बोल।
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी, नमो नमः। राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाबो ए अभिलाषी, राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाबो ए अभिलाषी। नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी, नमो नमः। जे तुम्हारो शरण लो तारा वांछा पूर्ण होय। कृपा करी रूप रासी यही निवेदन धरो साखीरानुगता करो सेवाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी दीना कृष्ण दासे को यही जना मोरा होय श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदाए नभासी श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदाए नभासी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi. Nithai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nithai Gaura Hari Bol. वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की. वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यव्रताय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यव्रताय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यव्रताय नमो नमः वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय।
So the Mangala Aarti concludes when we see the 10 senses of Vaishnava Vaishnava. So if you see from Tusi Puja, please also say 3 more minutes so that to the conclusion. So let's recite the translation for the Tusi prayer. O Tulsi, beloved of Krishna, I bow down to you before again. Myself in the service of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter you has wish fulfilled. Bestow mercy upon him and make him a resident of Vrindavan. My desire also grant me residence in the precious grove of Sri Vrindavanadam. Thus within my vision shall behold the beautiful paths and Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me follow or Karo Danso's Virgin. Please give me the privilege devotional service and make me own maid servant. Raise my fallen and lowly servant of Krishna praise. May I always swim the love Shri Shri Radha and Govinda. Shrimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 fences in the method of chanting holy names should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider name the demigods like Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Veda literature or to pursue the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities and strength of chanting holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of auspicious ritual activities, offering the Vedas fruity activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glory of holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 fences in order to quickly achieve desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us offer most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are desires who can fulfill to everyone, and they are full compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Jeto Darpana Marjanam Pavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chantrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamita Sadhanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Eta Deshi Tavakripa Bhagavam Mamapi Durudevami Desham Yaha Janina Nurakaha Trinatapi Suni Jena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Satahalihi Na Thanam, Na Janam, Na Sundarin, Kavitam Vachagadisha Kamaye, Mama Jamani, Jamanishvare, Bhavata Bhaktir Haituki Toy, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Ham Vishame Bhavam Pudo, Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stita Duri Satesham Vichintaya, Nayanam Garadashru Daraya, Vatanam Kat Kata Rudaya Gira, Pulakai Nichitam Vapurukada Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishati Yugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravisha Itam Shunya Itam Chakasarvam Govinda Vidahe Name Ashrishava Padaratam Pinnashtumam Adarshanam Marmahatam Karotuva Yatha Tatha Va Vidatatu Lampato Mat Prana Natastu Saeva Na Paraha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses our heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes fire of conditional life, repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity in the large, because it spreads a rays on the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grants all benediction human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out kindness enables us to easily approach you by holy name. But I am so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more taller than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maranjananda Krishna, I am an eternal servitor, yet somehow I fall in the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me as one of the Adam to your lotus feet. O my Lord, while my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name, while my voice choke up, while the hairs of my body stand at the recitation of your name. O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considered a moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna, my Lord, and shall remain so if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Shri Mangala Charnam prayers ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachadesha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhani Videvi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuyo Jala Premadya Shri Rupa Nuka Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dina Darine Rupa Nuka Virudapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuka Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumistvam Nirtishta Sajanapriyaha Vaishnava Savabhama Shri Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishin Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Srato Pango Mamamanda Materkati Masarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Dvindarana Kapaju Mata Shimadrana Kara Singhasanasto Shimadratha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtari Bi Sevyamano Smarami Shiman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsi Vata Tata Stitaha Karasham Venu Suner Gopir Gopinatha Shiestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Mangalacharna prayers ki jai Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadyaradya Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasukalpa Viksha Lakshariteshu Surabhi Rabi Balayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Pramasevyamanam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Venun Kavanantam Aravinda Dalayataksam Parharvatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Gantarpa Goti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Alola Chantakala Savanamara Vamshi Ranangadam Pranayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tipanga Lalitam Yataprakasham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Angani Yasya Sakalendira Vittimanti Pashanti Panti Karayanti Chiram Chakanti Ananda Chimma Satujala Vigrahasya Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Sampragamyo Vayuratapi Manaso Munipangavanam Sopiasti Yapapada Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ekopya Sora Chayitum Jagatanta Kotim Ya Chakti Rasti Jagatanta Chayaya Dantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manujasta Teva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhushaha Suktaryam Eva Nikama Patitai Stuvanti Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ananda Chimmaya Rasa Patibhavitapi Taphe Evan Jarupataya Kalapihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhutto Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Premanjana Churutha Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sateva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ramadi Murtishu Kalanyamina Tishtan Nanavatarama Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samapava Paramapumam Yo Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Krishna, who is known as Govinda, the Supreme Godhead. He has the eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire. In abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord who is abdect in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, the eternally sees,
maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. Yet, he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an unidentified, undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing their mantra suktas told by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidants, Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyamasundara, Krishna himself. Krishna himself with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the form of Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions.
Sri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 purport. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya sravana kirtanaha hridayanta histau hi abhadrani vidunoti suhrit satam nasta prayeshva abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha dayasche cheta eter anavidam sitam satve prasidati एवं प्रसन्न मनसो भगवद् भक्ति योगतः भगवत् तत्व विज्ञानं मुक्त संगस्य जायते विद्यते हृदय ग्रंथेश्चिद्यन्ते सर्वसमस्यः क्षीयन्ते च कर्माणि दृष्टा एवात्मनीश्वरे.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, it's itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord.
By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished.
When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly.
Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of Asham Shayam Samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 27. तक्षकाद् आत्मानो मृत्युं द्विजापुत्रोपसार्जितात् प्रपत्स्यता उपाश्रुत्य mukta sanga padam hare. Takshakat, by the snake bird, Atmana, of his personal self, Mrityum, death, Dvijaputra, the son of a Brahmana, Upasarjitat, being sent by, Prapatsyate, being taken shelter of, Upasrutya, after hearing, Mukta Sangha, freed from all attachment, Padam, position, Hare, of the Lord. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After hearing about his death, which will be caused by the bite of a snake bird sent by a son of Brahmana, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto the personality of Godhead, taking shelter of him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Material attachment and taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord go ill together. Material attachment means ignorance of transcendental happiness under the shelter of the Lord. Devotional service to the Lord while existing in the material world is a way to practice one's transcendental relation with the Lord, and when it is matured, one gets completely free from all material attachment and becomes competent to go back home, back to Godhead. Maharaj Parikshit, being especially attached to the Lord from the beginning of his body in the womb of his mother, was continuously under the shelter of the Lord, and the so-called warning of his death within 7 days from the date of the curse by the Brahmana's son was a boon to him to enable him to prepare himself to go back home, back to Godhead. Since he was always protected by the Lord, he could have avoided the effect of such a curse by the grace of the Lord. But he did not make such undue advantage of nothing. Rather, he made the best use of a bad bargain. For 7 days continuously he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source, and thus he got shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord by that opportunity.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.12.28. Jignastitatma yathatyo munervyasa sutad asau hitvedam nripa gangayam yasyati athakutam bahayam. Jignasita, having inquired of, Atma, Yathartya, right knowledge of one's own self. Mune, from the learned philosopher. Vyasa Sutat, the son of Vyasa. Asau, he. Hitva, quitting. Idam, this material attachment. Nripa, O king. Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges. Yasyati, will go. Adha, directly. Akutha Bayam, the life of fearlessness. Translation. After inquiring about proper self-knowledge from the son of Vyasadeva, who will be a great philosopher, he will renounce all material attachment and achieve a life of fearlessness. Purport. Material knowledge means ignorance of the knowledge of one's own self. Philosophy means to seek after the right knowledge of one's own self or the knowledge of self-realization. Without self-realization, philosophy is dry speculation or waste of time and energy. Srimad Bhagavatam gives the right knowledge of one's own self, and by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can get free from material attachment and enter into the kingdom of fearlessness. This material world is fearfulness. Its prisoners are always fearful as within a prison house. In the prison house, no one can violate the jail rules and regulations. And violating the rules means another term for extension of prison life. Similarly, we in this material existence are always fearful. This fearfulness is called anxiety. Everyone in the material life, in all species and varieties of life, is full of anxieties, either by breaking or without breaking the laws of nature. Liberation or mukti means getting relief from these constant anxieties. This is possible only when the anxiety is changed to the devotional service of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam gives us the chance to change the quality of anxiety from matter to spirit. This is done in the association of a learned scholar like the self-realized Sukadeva. Learned philosopher like the self-realized Sukadeva Goswami, the great son of Sri Vyasadeva. Maharaj Parikshit, after receiving warning of his death, took advantage of this opportunity by association with Sukadeva Goswami and achieved the desired result. This is a sort of imitation of this reciting and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam by professional men, and their foolish audience thinks that they will get free from the clutches of material attachment and attain the life of fearlessness. Such imitative hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is a caricature only, and one should not be misled by such a performance of Bhagavata Saptaha undertaken by ridiculous greedy fellows to maintain an establishment of material enjoyment.
Iti Rajna Upadisha Viprajataka Kovida Labda Pachita Ya Sarve Prajita Prati Jagmu Swakangrahan. Iti, thus, Rajne unto the king, Upadisha, having advised, Vipra, persons well versed in the Vedas, Jataka Kovida, persons expert in astrology and in the performance of birth ceremonies, Labda Apachitaya, those who had received some sumptuously as remuneration, Sarve, all of them, Prati Jagmu, went back, Swakan, their own, Grihan, houses. Translation. Thus, those who were expert in astrological knowledge and in performance of the child's birth ceremony instructed King Yudhishthira about the future history of his child. Then, being sumptuously remunerated, they all returned to their respective homes.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Vedas are the storehouse of knowledge, both material and spiritual, but such knowledge aims at perfection of self-realization. In other words, the Vedas are the guides for the civilized man in every respect. Since human life is the opportunity to get free from all material miseries, it is properly guided by the knowledge of the Vedas in the matters of both material needs and spiritual salvation. The specific intelligent class of men who were devoted particularly to the knowledge of the Vedas were called the Vipras, or the graduates of the Vedic knowledge. There are different branches of knowledge in the Vedas, of which astrology and pathology are two important branches necessary for the common man. So the intelligent men, generally known as the Brahmanas, took up all the different branches of Vedic knowledge to guide society. Even the department of military education, Dhanurveda, was also taken up by such intelligent men, and the Vipras were also teachers of this section of knowledge, as were Dronacharya, Kripacharya, etc. The word Vipra mentioned herein is significant. There is a little difference between the Vipras and the Brahmanas. The Vipras are those who are expert in karma kanda or fruitive activities, guiding the society towards fulfilling the material necessities of life, whereas the Brahmanas are expert in spiritual knowledge of transcendence. This department of knowledge is called Jnana Kanda, and above this there is the Upasana Kanda. The culmination of Upasana Kanda is the devotional service to the Lord Vishnu, and when the Brahmanas achieve perfection, they are called Vaishnavas. Vishnu worship is the highest of the modes of worship. Elevated Brahmanas are Vaishnavas engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And thus Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the science of devotional service, is very dear to the Vaishnavas. And as explained in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the mature fruit of Vedic knowledge and is superior subject matter above the three khandas, namely Karma, Jnana and Upasana. Amongst the Karma Kanda experts, the Jataka expert Vipras were good astrologers who could tell all the future history of a born child simply by the astral calculation of the time, Lagna. Such expert Jataka Vipras were present during the birth of Maharaja Parikshit and his grandfather Maharaja Yudhishthira. awarded the Vipras sufficiently with gold, land, villages, grains, and other valuable necessaries of life, which also include cows. There is a need of such Vipras in the social structure, and it is the duty of the state to maintain them comfortably. As designed in the Vedic procedure, such expert Vipras, being sufficiently paid by the state, could give free service to the people in general, and thus this department of Vedic knowledge could be available for all.
Text 30. Sa esha loke vikyata parikshit iti yat prabhu purvam drishtam anutyayan parikshita nareshva iha sahi eshaha in this loke world vikyataha famous parikshit one who explains iti thus yat what prabhu O my king purvam before the drishtvam seen anundhyayan constantly contemplating parikshita shall explain nareshu unto every man iha here. Translation. So his son would become famous in the world as Parikshit examiner, because he would come to examine all human beings in his search after that personality whom he saw before his birth. Thus he would come to constantly contemplate him. Purport. Maharaja Parikshit, fortunate as he was, got the impression of the Lord even in the womb of his mother. And thus his contemplation on the Lord was constantly with him. Once the impression of the transcendental form of the Lord is fixed in one's mind, one can never forget him in any circumstance. Child Parikshit, after coming out of the womb, was in the habit of examining everyone to see whether he was the same personality whom he first saw in the womb. That no one could be equal or to or more attractive than the Lord, and therefore he never accepted anyone. But the Lord was constantly with him by such examination, and thus Maharaja Parikshit was always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord by remembrance.
Srila Jiva Goswami remarks in this connection that every child, if given an impression of the Lord from his very childhood, certainly becomes a great devotee of the Lord like Maharaja Parikshit. One may not be as fortunate as Maharaja Parikshit to have the opportunity to see the Lord in the womb of his mother. But even if he is not so fortunate, he can be made so if the parents of the child desire him to be so. There is a practical example in my personal life in this connection. My father was a pure devotee of the Lord, and when I was only 4 or 5 years old, my father gave me a couple of forms of Radha and Krishna. In a playful manner, I used to worship these deities along with my sister, and I used to imitate the performances of the neighboring temple of Radha Govinda. By constantly visiting this neighboring temple and copying the ceremonies in connection with my own deities of play, I developed a natural affinity for the Lord. My father used to observe all the ceremonies befitting my position. Later on, These activities were suspended due to my association in the schools and colleges, and I became completely out of practice. But in my youthful days, when I met my spiritual master, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, again I revived my old habit, and the same playful deities became my worshipable deities in proper regulation. This was followed up until I left the family connection, and I am pleased that my generous father gave the first impression, which was developed later into regulative devotional service by his divine grace. Maharaja Prahalada also advised that such impressions of a godly relation must be impregnated from the beginning of childhood. Otherwise, one may miss the opportunity of the human form of life, which is very valuable, although it is temporary like others.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.12.31 Saraja putro vavardhe asu sukla yuvodupaha apuryamanaha mana pitribhi kashtabhir iva sonvaham sa that Raja Putra, the royal prince, Vavardhe, grew up, Asu, very soon, Sukle, waxing moon, Iva, like Udapah, the moon, Apuryamana, luxuriantly, Pitribi, by the parental guardians, Kashtabhi, plenary development, Iva, like Sah, he, Anvaham, day after day. Translation: as the moon in its waxing fortnight develops day after day, so the royal prince Parikshit very soon developed luxuriantly under the care and full facilities of his guardian grandfathers.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 32. Yakshyamanokshvamedhena Gnatidroha jihasaya Raja labdha dhano dadhyau Nanyatra karadandayo. Yakshamana, desiring to perform. Ashwamedhana, by the horse sacrifice ceremony. Gnatidroha, fighting with kinsmen. Jignasaya, for getting free. Raja, King Yudhishthira. Labdhadhana, for getting some wealth. Dadhyau, thought about it. Anyatra, not otherwise. Karadandayo, taxes and fines. Translation: just at this time, King Yudhishthira was considering performing a horse sacrifice to get freed from sins incurring from fighting with kinsmen. But he became anxious to get some wealth, for there were no surplus funds outside of fines and tax collection. Purport: as the Brahmanas and Vipras had a right to be subsidized by the state executive head had the right to collect taxes and fines from the citizens. After the battle of Kurukshetra, the state treasury was exhausted, and therefore there was no surplus fund except the fund from tax collection and fines. Such funds were sufficient only for the state budget, and having no excess fund, the king was anxious to get more wealth in some other way in order to perform the horse sacrifice. Maharaja Yudhishthira wanted to perform this sacrifice under the instruction of Bhishma Deva.
Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 33. Tad abhipretam alaksha brahrataro chyuta chodita dhanam parihinam ajahru udichyam dishi bhurisha. Tat, his, abhipretam, wishes of the mind, alaksha, observing, brahataraha, his brothers, achyuta, the infallible Lord Sri Krishna, chodita, being advised by, dhanam, riches, prahinam, to collect, ahruhu, brought about, udichyam, northern, dishi, direction, Bhurisha, sufficient. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Understanding the hearty wishes of the king, his brothers, as advised by the infallible Lord Krishna, collected sufficient riches from the north, left by King Maruta. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maharaj Maruta, one of the great emperors of the world, he reigned over the world long before the reign of Maharaja Yudhishthira. He was son of Maharaja Avikshit and was a great devotee of the son of the sun god, known as Amraja. His brother Samvarta was a rival priest of the great Burhaspati, the learned priest of the demigods. He conducted one sacrifice called Sankara Yajna, by which the Lord was so satisfied that he was pleased to hand over to him the charge of a mountain peak of gold. This peak of gold is somewhere in the Himalaya mountains, and modern adventurers may try to find it there. He was so powerful an emperor that at the day's end of sacrifice, the demigods from the other planets like Indra, Chandra, and Brihaspati used to visit his place. And because he had the gold peak at his disposal, he had sufficient gold in his possession. The canopy of the sacrificial altar was completely made of gold. In his daily performances of the sacrificial ceremonies, some of the inhabitants of the Vayuloka airy planets were invited to expedite the cooking work of the ceremony, and the assembly of the demigods in the ceremony was led by Vishwadeva. By his constant pious work, he was able to drive out all kinds of diseases from the jurisdiction of his kingdom. All the inhabitants of higher planets like Devaloka and Pitraloka were pleased with him for his great sacrificial ceremonies. Every day he used to give in charity to the learned brahmanas such things as beddings, seeds, conveyances, and sufficient quantities of gold. Because of munificent charities and performances of innumerable sacrifices, the king of heaven, Indradeva, was fully satisfied with him and always wished for his welfare. Due to his pious activities, he remained a young man throughout his life and reigned over the world for 1000 years, surrounded by his satisfied subjects, ministers, legitimate wife, sons and brothers. Even Lord Sri Krishna praised his spirit of pious activities. He handed over his only daughter to Maharaja Angira, and by his good blessings he was elevated to the kingdom of heaven. First of all, he wanted to offer the priesthood of his sacrifices to learned Brihaspati, but the demigod refused to accept the post because of the king's being a human being, a man of this earth. He was very sorry for this, but on the advice of Narada Muni, he appointed Samvarta to the post, and he was successful in his mission. The success of a particular type of sacrifice completely depends on the priest in charge. In this age, all kinds of sacrifice are forbidden because there is no learned priest among the so-called Brahmanas, which go by the false notion of becoming sons of Brahmanas without Brahmanical qualifications. In this age of Kali, therefore, only one kind of sacrifice is recommended, Sankirtana Yajna, as inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.12.34 Tena sambrata sambaro dharmaputro yudhishthirah vajimedasthaipet bitho yajnai samajat dharim. Tena, with that wealth, sambratha, collected, sambara, ingredients, dharmaputra, the pious king, yudhishthira, vajimedai, by horse sacrifices, tribui, 3 times, bitha, being greatly afraid after the battle of Kurukshetra, yajnai, sacrifices, samayajat, perfectly worshipped, harim, the personality of Godhead. Translation. By those riches, the king could procure the ingredients of 3 horse sacrifices. Thus, the pious king Yudhishthira, who was very fearful after the battle of Kurukshetra, pleased Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Purport. Maharaj Yudhishthira was the ideal and celebrated pious king of the world, and still he was greatly afraid after the execution of the battle of Kurukshetra because of the mass killing in the fight, all of which was done only to instill him on the throne. He therefore took all the responsibility for sins committed in the welfare, and to get rid of all these sins, he wanted to perform 3 sacrifices in which horses are offered at the altar. Such a sacrifice is very costly. Even Maharaja Yudhishthira had to collect the necessary heaps of gold left by Maharaj Marutha and the Brahmanas who were given gold in charity by King Marutha. The learned Brahmanas could not take away all the loads of gold given by Maharaj Marutha, and therefore they left behind the major portion of the gift. And Maharaj Marutha also did not again collect such heaps of gold given away in charity. Besides that, all the golden plates and utensils which were used in the sacrifice were also thrown in the dustbins, and all such heaps of gold remained unclaimed property for a long time, till Maharaj Yudhishthira collected them for his own purposes. Lord Sri Krishna advised the brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthira to collect the unclaimed property because it belonged to the king. The more astonishing thing is that no subject of the state also collected such unclaimed gold for industrial enterprise or anything like that. This means that the state citizens were completely satisfied with all necessities of life and therefore not inclined to accept unnecessary productive enterprises for sense gratification. Maharaj Yudhishthira also requisitioned the heaps of gold for performing sacrifices and for pleasing the Supreme Hari, the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, he had no desire to collect them for the state treasury. One should take lessons from the acts of Maharaja Yudhishthira. He was afraid of sins committed on the battlefield and therefore he wanted to satisfy the Supreme Authority. This indicates that unintentional sins are also committed in our daily occupational discharge of duties, and to counteract such unintentional crimes, one must perform sacrifices as they are recommended in the revealed scriptures. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Yajnartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana, that one must perform sacrifices recommended in the scriptures in order to get rid of commitments of all unauthorized work or even unintentional crimes which were apt to commit. By doing so, one shall be freed from all kinds of sins. And those who do not do so, but work for self-interest or sense gratification, have to undergo all tribulations accrued from committed sins. Therefore, the main purpose of performing sacrifices is to satisfy the Supreme Personality Hari. The process of performing sacrifices may be different in terms of different times, places and persons, but the aim of such sacrifices is one and the same at all times and in all circumstances. Satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Hari. That is the way of pious life, and that is the way of peace and prosperity in the world at large. Maharaj Yudhishthira did all these as the ideal pious king in the world.
If Maharaja Yudhishthira is a sinner in his daily discharge of duties in royal administration of state affairs, wherein killing of a man and animals is a recognized ought, then we can just imagine the amount of sins committed consciously or unconsciously by the untrained population of the Kali Yuga, who have no way to perform sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord. The Bhagavatam says, therefore, that the prime duty of the human being is to satisfy the Supreme Lord by the performance of one's occupational duty. Bhagavatam 1.2.13. Let any man of any place or community, caste or creed be engaged in any sort of occupational duty, but he must agree to perform sacrifices as it is recommended in the scriptures for the particular place, time and person. In Vedic literatures, it is recommended that in Kali Yuga, people engage in glorifying the Lord by chanting the holy name of Krishna. Kirtanad eva Krishna shya mukta sangha param vrajet, without offense. By doing so, one can be freed from all sins and thus can attain the highest perfection of life by returning home back to Godhead. We have already discussed this more than once in this great literature in different places, especially in the introductory portion by sketching the life of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and still we are repeating the same with a view to bring about peace and prosperity in society. The Lord has declared openly in Bhagavad Gita how He becomes pleased with us, and the same process is practically demonstrated in the life and preaching work of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The perfect process of performing yajnas or sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead, who gets us free from all miseries of existence, is to follow the ways of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this dark age of quarrel and dissension. Maharaja Yudhishthira had to collect heaps of gold to secure the paraphernalia for the horse sacrifice yajnas in days of sufficiency. So we can hardly think of such performance of yajnas in these days of insufficiency and complete scarcity of gold. At the present moment, we have heaps of papers and promises of their being converted into gold by economic development of modern civilization. And still, there is no possibility of spending riches like Maharaja Yudhishthira, either individually or collectively, or by state patronization. Just suitable, therefore, for the age is the method recommended by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in terms of the Shastra. Such a method requires no expenditure at all, and yet can award more benefit than other expensive method of yajna performances. The horse sacrifice yajna or cow sacrifice yajna performed by the Vedic regulation should not be misunderstood as a process of killing animals. On the contrary, animals offered for the yajna were rejuvenated to a span of life by the transcendental power of chanting the Vedic hymns, which, if properly chanted, are different from what is understood by the common layman. The Veda mantras are all practical, and the proof is rejuvenation of the sacrificed animal. There is no possibility of such methodical chanting of the Vedic hymns by the so-called brahmanas or priests of the present age. The untrained descendants of the twice-born families are no more like their forefathers, and thus they are counted amongst the Sudras or once-born men. The once-born man is unfit to chant the Vedic hymns, and therefore there is no practical utility of chanting the original hymns. And to save them all, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu propounded the Sankirtana movement or yajna for all practical purposes, and the people of the present age are strongly recommended to follow this sure and recognized path.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 35. Ahuto Bhagavan Rajna Yajayitva Dvijairnipam Uvasa Katichin Masan Suhrudam Priyakama Kamyaya. Ahuta, being called by Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Rajna, by the king, Yajayitva, causing to be performed, Dvijay, by the learned Brahmanas, Nripam, on the behalf of the king, Uvasa, recited, Katichit, a few, Masan, months, Suhrudam, for the sake of the relatives, Suhrudam, for the sake of the relatives, Priyakama Kamyaya, for the pleasure. Translation. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, being invited to the sacrifices by Maharaja Yudhishthira, saw to it that they were performed by qualified, twice-born Brahmanas. After that, for the pleasure of the relatives, the Lord remained a few months. Purport by Sri Bhakti Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shri Krishna was invited by Maharaja Yudhishthira to look into the supervision of the performance of yajna, and the Lord, to abide by the orders of his elderly cousin, caused the performance of yajnas by learned twice-born Brahmanas. Simply taking birth in the family of a Brahmana does not make one qualified to perform yajnas. One must be twice born by proper training and initiation from the bona fide Acharya. The once born scions of Brahmana families are equal with the once born Shudras, and such Brahmana Bandhus or unqualified once born scions must be rejected for any purpose of religious or Vedic function. Lord Shri Krishna was entrusted to look after this arrangement, and perfect as he is, he caused the yajnas to be performed by the bona fide twice born brahmanas for successful execution.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 36. Tato ragna bhyanugnatha krishnaya saha bandhubi yayau dvaravatim brahman sajruno yadubhir vritaha tata. Thereafter, Ragna, by the king, Abhyunugnatha, being permitted, Krishnaya, as well as by Draupadi, Saha, along with Bandhubhi, other relatives, Yayav, went to Dvaravatim, Dwaraka Dhama, Brahman, O Brahmanas, Sa Arjuna, along with Arjuna, Yadubhi, by the members of Yadu dynasty, Vrita, surrounded. Translation.
O Shanaka, thereafter, the Lord, having bade
farewell. O Shaunaka, thereafter the Lord, having bade farewell to King Yudhishthira, Draupadi and other relatives, started for the city of Dwaraka, accompanied by Arjuna and other members of the Yadu dynasty. Purport. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Birth of Emperor Parikshit.
Suta vacha vidurashtirtha vatrayam maitreyadatmanogatim jnatvagad dasti napuram tvaya vapta vivitsitva vivisita stataha. Suta Vacha, Sri Suta Goswami said, Vidura, Tirtha Vetrayam, while traveling to different places of pilgrimage. Maitreyat, from the great sage Maitreya. Atmana, of the self, Katam, destination. Gnavata, Gnatva, by knowing it. Agat, went back. Hastinapuram, the city of Hastinapura. Taya, by that knowledge. Avapta, sufficiently a gainer. Vivitsitaha, being well versed in everything knowable. Translation. Sri Suta Goswami said, while traveling on a pilgrimage, Vidura received knowledge of the destination of the self from great sage Maitreya, and then returned to Hastinapura. He became as well versed in the subject as he desired. Purport. Vidura, one of the prominent figures in the history of the Mahabharata, he was convinced by Vyasadeva in the womb of the maid servant of Ambika, mother of Maharaj Pandu. He is the incarnation of Yamaraja. Being cursed by Manduka Muni, he was to become a Sudra. The story is narrated as follows. Once upon a time, the state police caught some thieves who had concealed themselves in the hermitage of Manduka Muni. The police constables, as usual, arrested all the thieves and Manduka Muni along with them. The magistrate specifically punished the Muni to death by being pierced with a lance. When he was just to be pierced, the news reached the king, and he at once stopped the act on consideration of his being a great Muni. The king personally begged the Muni's pardon for the mistake of his men. And the saint at once went to Yamaraja, who prescribes the destiny of the living beings. Yamaraja, being questioned by the Muni, replied that the Muni in his childhood pierced an ant with a sharpened straw, and for that reason he was put into difficulty. The Muni thought it unwise on the part of Yamaraj that he was punished for his childish innocence, and thus the Muni cursed Yamaraj to become a Sudra, and this Sudra incarnation of Yamaraja was known as Vidura, the Sudra brother of the Drashta and Maharaja Pandu. This Sudra son of the Kuru dynasty was equally treated by Bhishma Deva along with his other nephews, and in due course Vidura married with a girl who was also born in the womb of a Sudrani by a Brahmana. Although Vidura did not inherit the property of his father, the brother of Bhishma Deva, still he was given sufficient state property by Dhritarashtra, the elder brother of Vidura. Vidura was very much attached to his elder brother, and all along he tried to guide him on the right path. During the fratricidal war of Kurukshetra, Vidura repeatedly implored his elder brother to do justice to the sons of Pandu, but Duryodhana did not like such interference by his uncle, and thus he particularly insulted Vidura. This resulted in Vidura's leaving home for pilgrimage and taking instructions from Maitreya.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.13.1. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.13.2. Yavata krutavan prasnan ksata kausaravagrata jataika bhaktir govinde tebhyaschopararamaha. Yavata, all that. Kritavan, did he put. Prasnan, questions. Ksatha, a name of Vidura. Kausarava, a name of Maitreya. Agratha, in the presence of. Jatha, having grown up. Eka, one. Bhakti, transcendental loving service. Govinde, unto Lord Krishna. tebhya regarding further questions. Cha and upararama retired from ha in the past. Translation. After asking various questions and becoming established in the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna, Vidra retired from putting questions to Maitreya Muni. Purport. Vidra retired from putting questions before Maitreya Muni when he was convinced by Maitreya Rishi that the samam bonum of life is to be finally situated in the transcendental loving service of Lord Sri Krishna, who is Govinda, or one who satisfies his devotees in all respects. The conditioned soul, the living being in material existence, seeks happiness by employing his senses in the modes of materialism, but that cannot give him satisfaction. He then searches after the supreme truth by the empiric, philosophic, speculative method and intellectual feats. But if he does not find the ultimate goal, he again goes down to material activities and engages himself in various philanthropic and altruistic works which all fail to give him satisfaction. So neither fruitive activities nor dry philosophical speculation can give one satisfaction, because by nature a living being is the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and all the Vedic literatures give him direction towards that ultimate end. The Bhagavad Gita 15.15 confirms this statement. Like Vidura, an inquisitive conditioned soul must approach a bona fide spiritual master like Maitreya, and by intelligent inquiries, one must try to know everything about karma, fruitive activities, jnana, philosophical research for the supreme truth, and yoga, the linking process of spiritual realization. One who is not seriously inclined to put questions before a spiritual master need not accommodate a show bottle spiritual master, nor should a person who may be a spiritual master for others pose to be so if he is unable to engage his disciple ultimately in the transcendental loving service of Lord Sri Krishna. Vidura was successful in approaching such a spiritual master like Maitreya, and he got the ultimate goal of life, bhakti unto Govinda. Thus, there was nothing to be known further about spiritual progress.
Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 3-4. Tam bandhum agatam drishtva dharmaputra sahanuja drishta rashtra dhritarashtra yuyutsuscha sutaha sharadvataha prata Gandhari Draupadi Brahman Subhadra Chotara Kripi Anyascha Jamayah Pandro Jnatyaha Sasutah Shristriya Tam him Bandhum relative Agatam having arrived there Drishtva by seeing it Dharmaputraha Yudhishthira Saha Anujaha along with his younger brothers Dhritarashtra Yuyutsu Satyaki Cha and Sutaha Sanjaya Sharadvataha Kripacharya Pritha Kunti Gandhari Draupadi Brahman O Brahmanas Subhadra Cha and Uttara Kripi Anya others Cha and Jamaya wives of other family members Pando of the Pandavas Jnataya family members Sa Sutaha along with their sons Striya the ladies. Translation: when they saw Vidura return to the palace, all the inhabitants, Maharaja Yudhishthira, his younger brothers Dhritarashtra, Satyaki, Sanjaya, Kripacharya, Kunti, Gandhari, Draupadi, Subhadra, Uttara, Kripa, many other wives of the Kauravas, and other ladies with children, all hurried to him in great delight. It so appeared that they have regained their consciousness after a long period. Purport: Gandhari. the ideal chaste lady in the history of the world. She was the daughter of Maharaja Subala, the king of Gandhara, now Kandahar in Kabul, and in her maiden state she worshipped Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is generally worshipped by Hindu maidens to get a good husband. Gandhari satisfied Lord Shiva and by his benediction to obtain 100 sons. She was betrothed to Dhritarashtra despite his being blind forever. When Gandhari came to know that her world would be husband with a blind man, to follow her life companion, she decided to become voluntarily blind. So she wrapped up her eyes with many silk linens, and she was married to Dhritarashtra under the guidance of her elder brother Shakuni. She was the most beautiful girl of her time, and she was equally qualified by her womanly qualities, which endeared every member of the Kaurava court. But despite all her good qualities, she had the natural frailties of a woman, and she was envious of Kunti when the latter gave birth to a male child. Both the queens were pregnant, but Kunti first gave birth to a male child. Thus Gandhari became angry and gave a blow to her own abdomen. As a result, she gave birth to a lump of flesh only. But since she was a devotee of Vyasadeva, by the instruction of Vyasadeva, the lump was divided into 100 parts, and each part gradually developed to become a male child. Thus her ambition to become the mother of 100 sons was fulfilled, and she began to nourish all the children according to her exalted position. When the intrigue of the battle of Kurukshetra was going on, she was not in favor of fighting with the Pandavas. Rather, she blamed Dhritarashtra, her husband, for such a fratricidal war. She desired that the state be divided into two parts, for the sons of Pandu and her own. She was very affected when all her sons died in the battle of Kurukshetra, and she wanted to curse Bhimasena and Yudhishthira, but she was checked by Vyasadeva. Her mourning over the death of Duryodhana and Dushasana before Lord Krishna was very pitiful, and Lord Krishna pacified her by transcendental messages. She was equally aggrieved on the death of Karna, and she described to Lord Krishna the lamentation of Karna's wife. She was pacified by Srila Vyasadeva when he showed her dead sons, then prompted to the heavenly kingdoms. She died along with her husband in the jungles of the Himalayas near the mouth of the Ganges. She burned in a forest fire. Maharaja Yudhishthira performed the death ceremony of his uncle and aunt. You want to read? Pritha, daughter of Maharaja Shurasena and sister of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna's father. Later, she was adopted by Maharaja Kunti Bhoja, and hence she is known as Kunti. She is the incarnation of the success potency of the personality of Godhead. The heavenly denizens from the upper planets used to visit the palace of King Kunti Bhoja, and Kunti was engaged for their reception. She also served the great mystic sage Durvasa, and being satisfied by her faithful service, Durvasa Muni gave her a mantra by which it was possible for her to call for any demigod she pleased. As a matter of inquisitiveness, she at once called for the sun god, who desired couplement with her, but she declined. But the sun god assured her immunity from virgin adulteration, and so she agreed to his proposal. As a result of this couplement, she became pregnant, and Karna was born by her. By the grace of the sun, she again turned into a virgin girl. But being afraid of her parents, she quitted the newly born child Karna. After that, when she actually selected her own husband, she preferred Pandu to be her husband. Maharaja Pandu later wanted to retire from family life and adopted the renouncement order of life. Kunti refused to allow her husband to adopt such life, but at last Maharaj Pandu gave her permission to become a mother of sons by calling some other suitable personalities. Kunti did not accept this proposal at first, but when vivid examples were set by Pandu, she agreed. Thus, by dint of the mantra awarded by Durvasa Muni, she called for Dharmaraja, and thus Yudhishthira was born. She called for the demigod Vayu, air, and thus Bhima was born. She called for Indra, the king of heaven, and thus Arjuna was born. The other two sons, namely Nakula and Sahadeva, were begotten by Pandu himself in the womb of Madri. Later on, Maharaja Pandu died at an early age, for which Kunti was so aggrieved that she fainted. Two co-wives, namely Kunti and Madri, decided that Kunti should live for the maintenance of the 5 minor children, the Pandavas, and Madri should accept the sati ritual by meeting voluntary death along with her husband. This agreement was endorsed by great sages like Shatrugna and others present on the occasion. Later on, when the Pandavas were banished from the kingdom by the intrigues of Duryodhana, Kunti followed her sons, and she equally faced all sorts of difficulties during those days. During the forest life, one demon girl, Hidimba, wanted Bhima as her husband. Bhima refused, but when the girl approached Kunti and Yudhishthira, they ordered Bhima to accept her proposal and give her a son. As a result of this combination, Ghatotkacha was born, and he fought very valiantly with his father against the Kauravas. In their forest life, they lived with a Brahmana family that was in trouble because of one Bakasura demon, and Kunti ordered Bhima to kill the Bakasura to protect the Brahmana family against troubles created by the demon. She advised Yudhishthira to start for the Panchala Desha. Draupadi was gained in this Panchala Desha by Arjuna, but by order of Kunti, all 5 of the Pandava brothers became equally the husbands of Panchali or Draupadi. She was married with 5 Pandavas in the presence of Vyasadeva. Kunti Devi never forgot her first child Karna, and after Karna's death in the battle of Kurukshetra, she lamented and admitted before her other sons that Karna was her eldest son prior to her marriage with Maharaja Pandu. Her prayers for the Lord after the battle of Kurukshetra when Lord Krishna was going back home are excellently explained. Later, she went to the forest with Gandhari for severe penance. She used to take meals after each 30 days. She finally sat down in profound meditation and later burned to ashes in a forest fire. Draupadi, the most chaste daughter of Maharaja Drupada and partly an incarnation of goddess Sachi, the wife of Indra. Maharaja Drupada performed a great sacrifice under the superintendence of the sage Yaja. By the first offering, Drishtadyumna was born, and by the second offering, Draupadi was born. She is therefore the sister of Drishtadyumna, and she is also named Panchali. The 5 Pandavas married her as a common wife, and each of them begot a son in her. Maharaj Yudhishthira begot a son named Pratibhit. Bhishma Sena begot a son named Sutasoma. Arjuna begot Shrutakriti. Nakula begot Shatanika. And Sahadeva begot Shrutakarma. She is described as a most beautiful lady equal to her mother-in-law Kunti. During her birth, there was an arrow message that she should be called Krishna. The same message also declared that she was born to kill many Kshatriya. By dint of her blessings from Shankara, she was awarded 5 husbands equally qualified. When she preferred to select her own husband, princes and kings were invited from all the countries of the world. She was married with the Pandavas during their exile in the forest. But when they went back home, Maharaja Maharaja Drupada gave them immense wealth as a dowry. She was well received by all the daughter-in-laws of Dhritarashtra. When she was lost in a gambling game, she was forcibly dragged into the assembly hall, and an attempt was made by Dusasana to see her naked beauty. Even though she was an elderly person like Bhishma, even though there were elderly persons like Bhishma and Drona present, she was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and by her praying, the Lord himself became an unlimited garment to save her from the insult. A demon for the name Jatasura kidnapped her, but her second husband Bhimasena killed the demon and saved her. She saved the Pandavas from the curse of Maharshi Durvasa by the grace of Lord Krishna. When the Pandavas lived incognito in the palace of Virata, Kichaka was attracted by her exquisite beauty, and by arrangement with Bhima, the devil was killed and she was saved. She was very much aggrieved when her 5 sons were killed by Ashwatthama. At the last stage, she accompanied her husband Yudhishthira and others and fell on the way. The cause of her falling was explained by Yudhishthira, but when Yudhishthira entered the heavenly planet, he saw Draupadi gloriously present there as the goddesses of fortune in the heavenly planet. Shubhadra, daughter of Vasudeva and sister of Lord Sri Krishna. She was not only a very dear daughter of Vasudeva and also a very dear sister to both Krishna and Baladeva. The two brothers and sister are represented in the famous Jagannatha temple of Puri, and the temple is still visited by thousands of pilgrims daily. This temple is in remembrance of the Lord's visit at Kurukshetra during an occasion of solar eclipse and his subsequent meeting with the residents of Vrindavana. The meeting of Radha and Krishna during this occasion is a very pathetic story, and Lord Sri Chaitanya, in the ecstasy of Radharani, always pinned for Lord Sri Krishna at Jagannatha Puri. While Arjuna was at Dwaraka, he wanted to have Subhadra as his queen, and he expressed his desire to Lord Krishna. Sri Krishna knew that his elder brother Lord Baladeva was arranging her marriage elsewhere, and since he did not dare to go against the arrangement of Baladeva, he advised Arjuna to kidnap Subhadra. So when all of them were on a pleasure trip on the Raivata hill, Arjuna managed to kidnap Subhadra according to the plan of Sri Krishna. Sri Baladeva was very angry at Arjuna and he wanted to kill him, but Lord Krishna implored his brother to excuse Arjuna. Then Subhadra was duly married with Arjuna and Abhimanyu was born of Subhadra. At the premature death of Abhimanyu, Subhadra was very mortified, but on the birth of Parikshit she was happy and solaced.
Bhakati Sadman. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Bandho mui savadana mate. Jahara prasade bai e baba toriya jai. Krishna prapti hoy hoy te. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chite te kohiya akya. Arana koriyo mane aisha. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama Gati. Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha. चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन जन में प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन में जन प्रभु से. दिव्य ज्ञान दे प्रकाशित हो. प्रेमा भक्ति जहाँ होते आवे जावे नाशा जाते. प्रेमा भक्ति जहाँ होते आवे जावे नाशा जाते. वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनारा बंधु. लोकेनाथ लोकेर जीवाना आहा प्रभु करो दया देओ मोरे पादा छाया. हा प्रभु करो दया देओ मोरे पादा छाया. Poshuk Tribhuvana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashaitya Deshatarine Saraswati Deve Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashaitya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Prabhu Pada, 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 Prabhu Pada, Jaya Prabhu Pada, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nittai Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Is purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. O spiritual master is the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. And give me the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Jai. Are you listening to your sensitive teacher? Oh yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Are you sure? Or are you doing a bad job? Maybe you're doing a bad job. Sure. Yeah. Bhavataha Namakim. Abhi Bhavataha Namakim. Bhavataha Namakim.